The Galactic Council, a vast assembly of hundreds of intelligent species from across the galaxy, gathered in an enormous, towering structure deep within the heart of space. The room was filled with the hum of electronic devices and the low murmur of voices as representatives from every corner of the galaxy took their seats. Today's agenda was the future of Earth. Humanity had become a rising force in the galaxy, and its rapid technological advancements were threatening the established order. From the outside, it appeared as though Earth's meteoric rise was nothing short of miraculous. Yet to the other species of the galaxy, this was a grave concern. With the power of technology and ingenuity, humans had begun to outpace their alien counterparts in more ways than one. Many of the galaxy's leaders feared that if humanity continued to grow unchecked, it would soon challenge their supremacy. The vote on Earth's fate was a matter of survival for them. As the debate raged on, voices were raised in anger and fear. Some argued that humanity was simply too unpredictable to be left to their own devices. Others believed that Earth's rapid technological growth posed a threat to the entire galaxy. A few advocates suggested that Earth should be allowed to thrive, but the majority found that idea dangerous. After hours of tense discussions, the decision was made: Earth would be enslaved. The people of Earth, with all their untapped potential, would be shackled by the might of the Galactic Empire, their freedom stripped away to ensure that they would never rise again. In the shadows of the room, unnoticed by the others, a figure stood silently. Captain Elena Stone, a human born on Earth, had infiltrated the assembly. She wasn't here by accident. She was part of a covert resistance group, a secret organization formed to protect Earth from the galaxy's far-reaching influence. She had spent years working behind the scenes, gathering intelligence, and preparing for the inevitable day when humanity's fate would be decided. Elena had known that Earth was vulnerable, but she also knew something that none of the alien representatives could fathom. Humanity was not as weak as they thought. She had seen the resilience of humans up close, their ability to adapt and survive, even in the face of overwhelming odds. While the vote was being cast and Earth's future was sealed in the hands of others, Elena's mind was already working 1,000 steps ahead. The aliens thought they had won. They thought they had broken humanity's spirit, that Earth would be another planet under their control, ripe for exploitation. But they were wrong. Elena knew that humanity would not simply bend to their will. She had seen the spark in the eyes of her fellow humans, an unyielding drive, a hunger for freedom that could not be extinguished. Earth may have been condemned today, but that would not be the end of the story. There was a fire in every human heart, one that the galaxy could not understand, and Elena was determined to fan it into a blaze that would consume the very foundation of the Galactic Empire. The vote may have sealed Earth's fate for now, but Elena had a plan. She was part of something bigger, a resistance that would rise from the ashes of this decision and fight back with everything humanity had. As the Galactic Council's members celebrated their apparent victory, Elena quietly turned and walked out of the room, her mind focused and determined. She knew that what had just happened was only the beginning. The aliens had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated humanity. Elena had seen the future, one where Earth would stand tall, not as a subjugated world, but as a beacon of resistance. The galaxy had no idea what it had just awakened. The humans would fight, and they would win. As she disappeared into the corridors, her steps were calm, but her heart raced with anticipation. Earth would not fall, not while there were humans like her ready to fight for it. The warships arrived with a thunderous roar, their massive forms casting shadows over Earth. The fleet of alien vessels, more than 100 strong, hovered ominously in the skies, their weapons gleaming with an otherworldly, lethal energy. The alien species, with their superior technology and battle-hardened forces, had arrived with the belief that Earth's defenses would crumble before them. They had underestimated humanity's resilience. The first wave of soldiers, sleek and deadly in their armor, descended upon Earth's major cities. With weapons capable of disintegrating buildings with a single shot, the aliens showed no mercy. They hit hard and they hit fast. Within hours, Major cities fell into chaos as humans were overwhelmed by the advanced forces. The sky above was lit with explosions as alien troops stormed through the streets, capturing Earth's military forces with ease. Cities fell into complete subjugation, and the remaining population was rounded up and forced into labor camps. The aliens believed that the Earth was theirs for the taking, but humans were no match for their overwhelming power. In the midst of this chaos, Captain Elena Stone watched as Earth's defenses collapsed before her eyes. It was a sobering sight, yet she didn't falter. She had prepared for this moment for years. Earth's forces were shattered, their technologies obsolete compared to the alien invaders. But Elena knew something the aliens didn't. Humanity possessed an extraordinary gift, one that no alien species had ever encountered. While the galaxy's finest warriors fought with weapons and advanced tech, humanity's true strength lay in something far older, far more primal. The key was Earth itself, the planet's unique ability to nurture life, to help it evolve and adapt at an astonishing rate. Humans had a biological resilience that no alien species could understand or predict. In times of crisis, the human body could adapt quickly, evolve even faster. It was this hidden power that Elena planned to harness. With a small but elite team of highly trained humans, Elena moved quickly and in secret. They had learned that if humans could adapt to their new enemies, they could defeat them. The team infiltrated a heavily guarded alien facility where the Resistance had secretly developed a new weapon, not one of technology, but of biology. The humans had discovered a way to tap into Earth's own resources to enhance their abilities, a technique that had been passed down through generations but forgotten by most. Elena's team used this knowledge to unlock new strengths within themselves: superior strength, heightened reflexes, and even the ability to sense and understand the movements of the alien invaders. It was a far cry from the advanced weaponry the aliens wielded, but it was enough. The first successful strike was swift and brutal. Elena and her team, now enhanced by Earth's ancient secrets, infiltrated an alien ship, the very one that was coordinating the assault on Earth. They moved with purpose, avoiding alien patrols, and struck at the heart of the vessel. They disabled the ship's core, sending it into a violent spiral before it crashed into the ocean. The explosion sent shockwaves across the galaxy, and the alien forces were momentarily stunned. For the first time, the invaders were forced to reconsider their superiority. A small ragtag group of humans had just disabled one of their most advanced ships, causing them to question everything they thought they knew about Earth. Back on the ground, the news of the attack spread like wildfire. Humans, once divided and helpless, began to rally behind the resistance. The first victory had ignited something within them, an undeniable will to fight back. Earth was far from defeated, and the aliens could no longer ignore the growing force that was humanity's will to survive. They had expected humanity to bow down, to accept their fate. Instead, they were witnessing the beginning of a rebellion, a force they were unprepared for. Elena knew that this was only the beginning. Earth's enemies had made a grave mistake, and they would soon learn that the humans they had thought weak were far more dangerous than they ever imagined. The fight for Earth was just getting started. The first victory of the human resistance had set the galaxy on fire. News of the daring strike against the alien fleet's flagship spread rapidly across Earth, igniting a spark of hope among the planet's inhabitants. Cities that had once been under tight control began to stir with life. People who had cowered in fear started to talk, to act, to believe that they too could fight back. The invaders had assumed that Earth's population would crumble beneath their superior might, but they were wrong. The humans, fueled by this first success, were no longer just defending their homes, they were beginning to believe in their own strength. However, the aliens, far from retreating, had quickly regrouped. They were not easily defeated. The Galactic Alliance sent reinforcements, more advanced ships, more deadly soldiers, and weapons designed specifically to obliterate the resistance before it could gain any real momentum. The aliens' response was swift and brutal. They unleashed an all-out assault on Earth's major cities, deploying their most lethal forces to crush the human spirit once and for all. The invaders believed that with these reinforcements, the war would be over quickly. They underestimated the humans once again. What the aliens didn't know was that Earth had something they could never understand: the Terra Protocol. It was a human secret, buried deep in Earth's ancient history, a genetic ability to tap into the planet's energy fields. This connection allowed humans to unlock hidden potential within themselves, something that no alien species had ever encountered before. The Resistance, led by Elena Stone, had discovered this secret weapon through painstaking research and ancient texts. They had kept it hidden, waiting for the right moment to unleash it. Now, that moment had arrived. As the aliens launched their next wave of attacks, the Resistance revealed the Terra Protocol to the world. Ordinary humans, ordinary soldiers, began to tap into Earth's raw energy, unlocking abilities that defied belief. With each new activation of the protocol, humans began to display extraordinary powers: faster reflexes, enhanced endurance, and heightened senses. But the most surprising abilities were the psychic-like powers. Humans could sense the movements of the alien forces, anticipate attacks, and even manipulate the very energy around them. They were evolving before the eyes of the invaders, adapting at an unprecedented rate. The alien forces watched in stunned silence as humans who had once been ordinary soldiers now moved with a grace and precision they had never imagined possible. The weapons they once thought would destroy humanity now seemed useless against this new breed of human warriors. Their advanced technology, their superior weaponry, all of it was no match for the evolving human abilities that were rapidly emerging on Earth's surface. The aliens, who had once seen humans as weak and predictable, now realized that they had awoken a force far greater than they could have ever anticipated. The humans had not only survived, they had transformed. The first battle after the humans unlocked their new abilities was a stunning victory for the Resistance. In cities across the planet, alien soldiers were struck down by human fighters whose powers had reached terrifying new heights. The alien invaders, who had believed they were in control, now found themselves on the back foot. Their advanced ships were no longer invincible. Their ground troops were no longer unstoppable. The human Resistance, once just a small band of insurgents, was now an army of fighters capable of challenging even the mightiest of alien forces. What the aliens had failed to realize was that humanity's evolution had never been linear. It was unpredictable, wild, and resilient. Earth's people had always been capable of adaptation on a scale no one could foresee. The Resistance had only begun to scratch the surface of what humanity could achieve. As the humans continued to rally, their newfound powers grew stronger. And the aliens, once so confident in their superiority, were forced to confront the reality they had never considered. They had not come to conquer Earth. They had come to awaken a sleeping giant. The human forces, now unified and empowered, stood ready to push back. The war had changed forever, and the fate of the galaxy itself hung in the balance. The war was no longer a one-sided conflict. The tide had begun to turn. Humanity, once on the brink of destruction, was now pushing back with every ounce of strength it could muster. Elena's team had made an incredible breakthrough. By hacking into alien communications, they uncovered something shocking. The vote to enslave Earth hadn't just been about the aliens' desire for power, as the humans had assumed. It was about fear. Deep, paralyzing fear. Earth's potential had been underestimated by every species in the galaxy, including the most advanced ones. The Galactic Council, in its collective wisdom, had seen humanity's rapid rise and feared what it might mean for the balance of power across the galaxy. The humans were not just a threat. They were a ticking time bomb, a species that could evolve faster than any other. And now that the bomb had been triggered, the aliens were realizing they had made a grave mistake. As news of the Resistance's success spread across Earth, the alien forces began to lose ground. The Terra Protocol had unlocked human abilities that were rapidly growing stronger, and it was becoming clear that the once powerful alien invaders were no longer as invincible as they had believed. Cities that had once been under complete alien control were now liberated, and the Resistance's ranks swelled with every victory. The alien forces, who had expected to crush the humans and leave nothing but ashes, now found themselves being pushed back. Their advanced ships and weapons, once a symbol of their superiority, were failing to withstand the might of Earth's newly awakened forces. Humanity was no longer on the defensive, it was fighting back, and it was winning. In the midst of this, Elena received an unexpected communication. A high-ranking member of the Galactic Council, a representative of the Zolthari species, reached out to her. The Zolthari were known as a peaceful, wise race, and this particular individual, known as Varian, had been one of the key architects behind the vote to enslave Earth. He had been part of the decision to cast humanity into subjugation, but now, as the situation grew dire, he was contacting Elena with a startling message. Varian expressed deep regret for the decision to condemn Earth and offered to negotiate peace. He claimed that the Galactic Council was now reconsidering its stance, as it had become clear that Earth's potential could no longer be ignored. The Zolthari, he insisted, wanted to make amends and offered terms for a ceasefire. But Elena was not interested in peace talks, not yet, anyway. She had heard their words, but the scars of the past few months ran deep. The alien invasion had caused untold destruction, and their belief that humanity was weak had only strengthened Earth's resolve to never again be underestimated. Earth was no longer a victim, and Elena refused to let her people settle for anything less than complete freedom. Negotiating for peace would only serve to preserve the alien order, the very order that had tried to enslave them. Elena wasn't ready to talk. She wasn't ready to surrender. Instead, Elena had a far bolder idea. If the aliens truly feared humanity's potential, then it was time to show them just how dangerous Earth could be. With the resistance growing stronger by the day, Elena began to push forward with a plan that would shake the very foundations of the galactic order. It wasn't just about fighting for Earth's freedom anymore. It was about making the galaxy understand the true power of humanity. She outlined a massive counter-offensive, a campaign that would stretch across the stars, targeting key alien worlds and military installations. The resistance would no longer be confined to Earth. It would become a symbol of unity, a movement that would spread across the galaxy, one victory at a time. The aliens had thought they were dealing with a primitive species, one easy to control and subdue. But they had awoken a giant, and now it was time to show them just how deep the well of humanity's power ran. Elena's plan was bold, risky, and if successful, it would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. But there was no turning back now. The stakes were higher than ever. The alien forces had awakened humanity's wrath, and they would soon see just how badly they had miscalculated. Earth would no longer be a target, it would be the galaxy's reckoning. The moment of reckoning had arrived. Elena and her team stood on the precipice of a mission that would change everything. Intelligence had revealed the existence of a superweapon, a colossal alien station hidden deep in the heart of a distant star system. This weapon, capable of erasing entire planets with a single shot, had been designed as the ultimate tool of destruction. Its creators intended it to wipe Earth from the galaxy entirely, a final blow to any hope of resistance. But Elena wasn't about to let that happen. The resistance had come too far, and this superweapon would be the perfect target to strike at the heart of the alien invaders' power. It would send a message to the galaxy that humanity would no longer be a victim, it would be a force to be reckoned with. The mission was fraught with danger, but Earth's forces, now empowered by their newfound abilities, were ready. The humans who had once been ordinary soldiers were now far more than that. With their enhanced reflexes, heightened senses, and even psychic abilities, they moved like a well-oiled machine, working in perfect synchronization as they stormed the massive station. The alien defenders, though numerous and heavily armed, were no match for the sheer power and resolve of the human fighters. Each alien soldier who tried to hold their ground found themselves overwhelmed, as the humans adapted to every attack, outsmarting and outmaneuvering their enemies with an efficiency that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The Resistance's newfound abilities allowed them to move faster, think quicker, and anticipate every move the alien forces made. The battle raged across the station, and Elena's team pushed forward, determined to reach the weapon's core. Time was running out. Every moment they spent on the station brought them closer to the destruction that could wipe out Earth and its entire future. With coordinated strikes and calculated precision, the Resistance dismantled the station's defenses one by one. Alien technology that had once seemed invincible was brought to its knees by the very species it had been designed to destroy. The alien forces, unable to keep up with the relentless onslaught of human resilience, were thrown into disarray. Their superweapon, the very thing that had once seemed like the ultimate deterrent, was disabled, and the station began to collapse. The victory was swift, and the shockwaves of its success reverberated throughout the galaxy. The impact of this victory was immediate and far-reaching. News of the successful mission spread like wildfire, not just on Earth, but across alien planets as well. The victory over the superweapon station was more than just a tactical win. It was a symbol of humanity's strength, a declaration that Earth and its people were no longer to be underestimated. What had once been an isolated resistance movement was now a rallying cry for oppressed species across the galaxy. The aliens who had once thought themselves invincible were now beginning to question their power. Earth's forces had struck a crippling blow, and the tide of war was turning. Humanity's victory inspired other oppressed species, those who had long suffered under the yoke of the galactic elite. As news spread, these species, many of whom had been silenced or ignored by the powerful forces that had once dominated the galaxy, began to rise up. Some had been enslaved, others exploited, but all had one thing in common. They were tired of being subjugated. They saw in humanity not just a symbol of resistance, but a beacon of hope. The alliance between Earth and these newly awakened species began to take shape, growing stronger by the day. What had started as a fight for Earth's survival was now a galaxy-wide movement, a revolt against the tyrannical forces that had long held power over them. As more planets joined the cause, the alien invaders found themselves facing not just the might of humanity, but a united front of species that were tired of being ruled by fear. Even some of the alien races that had originally voted to enslave Earth began to have second thoughts. They had witnessed humanity's resilience firsthand, and many began to regret their decision. Some even reached out to the Resistance, offering their support in exchange for mercy. The galaxy was changing, and the once dominant forces now found themselves on the defensive. The humans, emboldened by their successes, pushed forward with renewed determination. They had proven that no matter how powerful the alien invaders seemed, they were not invincible. Earth was no longer a planet on the brink of annihilation. It was a rising force, and with every victory, the Resistance grew stronger. The tide had shifted, and the alien invaders were beginning to realize the true power of humanity. The galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy was on the brink of collapse. The Galactic Council, in a desperate attempt to hold onto their fading control, prepared for the final showdown with humanity. They could no longer afford to underestimate the human resistance. The Alliance, a coalition of alien species from every corner of the galaxy, had gathered its full might, preparing for a battle that would decide the future of the entire galaxy. Earth's fleet, though smaller in number, was growing stronger by the day, bolstered by the support of newly allied species that had joined the fight for freedom. The stakes had never been higher, and the tension in the air was thick with uncertainty. Both sides knew that this would be the battle to end all battles. As the fleets clashed in the heart of the galaxy, the sounds of war echoed through space. Explosions rocked the battlefield as advanced ships from all sides exchanged fire. The alien forces had the advantage in technology, but Earth's fleet had something far more dangerous: human resilience and a will to fight that had proven impossible to break. Each human fighter, armed with the power of the Terra Protocol, became a force unto themselves. The combined might of the Resistance had pushed back the alien forces before, but this time The enemy was all but determined to wipe humanity from the stars. While the battle raged in space, Elena and her team had a far more critical mission. The heart of the Galactic Council's power, the place where the galaxy's leaders made their decisions, lay in a massive citadel, an impenetrable fortress located on a distant planet. If they could infiltrate the citadel and expose the true motives behind the vote to enslave Earth, they would strike a decisive blow against the alien alliance. With each passing moment, the stakes rose higher, but Elena had no intention of backing down. The resistance had already accomplished the impossible, and now they had to face the very leaders who had deemed Earth a threat to be eradicated. Elena and her team, cloaked in the shadows of space, made their way through the heavily guarded citadel. The alien forces, still reeling from their previous defeats, were scrambling to defend their leaders, but the humans' newfound powers gave them the edge. With every step they took, they moved closer to the truth. But as they fought through wave after wave of alien soldiers, Elena couldn't help but feel a sense of dread creeping up on her. She knew that what they uncovered within the citadel would change everything. When they finally reached the central chamber of the citadel, Elena faced the truth she had always suspected. The true reason behind the Council's decision to enslave Earth was not out of mere desire for power. No, it was something much deeper, much more primal. The Council had feared humanity's rapid evolution. They had watched as Earth's species adapted, evolved, and became more powerful than any other in the galaxy. The alien leaders had known that if humanity was allowed to continue on its current path, they would one day challenge the very authority of the Council itself. The vote to enslave Earth was not just a political move, it was a preemptive strike, an attempt to extinguish a growing threat before it could fully emerge. Humanity was not simply a nuisance, it was a species capable of toppling the entire galactic order. With this truth in hand, Elena and her team fought their way through the citadel, revealing the Council's true motives to the galaxy. The Resistance's forces, inspired by this revelation, rallied with newfound determination. The Council's lies had been exposed, and the remaining alien forces began to lose their resolve. But despite their advantage, the battle was far from over. The alien forces, now desperate to maintain their power, launched one final, all-out assault. As Earth's forces struggled to maintain their momentum in the wake of this revelation, the tide of the battle began to shift once again. The aliens, realizing their hold on the galaxy was slipping, fought with a ferocity born of desperation. But Earth's resistance, now emboldened by the truth and united under the banner of freedom, fought back with everything they had. The final battle had begun, and the future of the galaxy hung in the balance. Elena knew this was the moment they had all been waiting for, the moment when humanity would prove that it was no longer a species to be enslaved. This time, they were fighting for more than survival. They were fighting to reclaim their place in the stars. The war that had once seemed impossible to win was now at its climax. Humanity had proven its strength and resilience, and the Galactic Council, along with the alien alliance that had once sought to enslave Earth, was crumbling. Earth's forces, led by Elena and the Resistance, had defeated the might of the galactic elite, and the final battles were being fought. Yet, as victory drew closer, Elena found herself facing a dilemma unlike any she had encountered before. The war had cost so much. Countless lives lost, entire civilizations in ruin, and now that the tide had turned in humanity's favor, she had to decide how to move forward. Was vengeance the right path? Many of her comrades, fueled by years of suffering and betrayal, thirsted for retribution. They wanted justice for every fallen soldier, for every destroyed city, for every innocent life lost. But Elena, who had seen the worst of war and the toll it took on both sides, understood that Earth's future depended on the choices they made now. Revenge might satisfy the need for closure, but it would only deepen the galaxy's cycle of violence and hatred. As she stood on the precipice of a new era, Elena knew that humanity could not rebuild the galaxy on the foundation of revenge. Earth's victory had shown the galaxy that humans could rise to any challenge, But now it was time to show that humanity was capable of something even greater: mercy, understanding, and the willingness to build a new future, not just for themselves, but for the entire galaxy. The old way, driven by fear and dominance, had failed. Elena was determined to forge a new path, one that would create a galaxy where peace, cooperation, and mutual respect were the guiding principles. With this in mind, she made a decision that would change the course of history. In a bold move, Elena addressed the galaxy in a historic speech, broadcast to every corner of the universe. She stood before a crowd of survivors and alien leaders, a symbol of humanity's unwavering resolve. "The time for fear is over," she began, her voice steady but resolute. "We have fought hard, and we stand victorious, but it is not through domination that we will lead the galaxy. It is through cooperation, through understanding, through a recognition of the potential in every species, no matter how different they may be. We offer a choice: coexistence or exile." Her words rang out across the galaxy, reaching the ears of every species that had once considered humanity a threat. Elena's proposal was not one of subjugation, but of a new kind of alliance, one that was based on mutual respect and the belief that the strength of the galaxy lay not in its ability to dominate, but in its diversity. It was a chance for the alien species that had once feared humanity to set aside their old prejudices and join in building a future together. For those who could not change, who still clung to the old ways of fear and control, Elena offered exile, a chance to leave the galaxy and seek their own path away from the united civilizations that were now being forged. The galaxy held its breath. There were those who were too proud, too set in their ways, to accept such a monumental shift. Some of the alien species, still reeling from their defeat, refused to bend. They rejected the offer of peace, unable to see the value in coexistence. These species were exiled, their influence stripped away, leaving them to wander the far reaches of space. But for many others, the message was clear. They had witnessed humanity's resilience, its ability to overcome unimaginable odds, and they recognized the power in unity. Some of the alien species that had once sought to destroy Earth now stood alongside humanity, eager to build a future where the mistakes of the past were not repeated. As the dust settled and the galaxy began to rebuild, Earth emerged not as a conquered world, but as a beacon of hope. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's rise from the brink of annihilation to a position of leadership, not through fear, but through the power of compassion and resilience. Earth had shown the galaxy that, even when faced with impossible odds, humanity could rise above the darkness and shape its own destiny. Elena's decision had transformed the course of history, creating a future where cooperation, not conquest, was the foundation upon which the galaxy would thrive. The war was over, but the true battle, the battle for the soul of the galaxy, had only just begun, and humanity, with all its flaws and strengths, would lead the way toward a brighter, united future.